What if you could actually reach financial freedom without some high-flying career or getting lucky on a single stock pick? Today, we're going to break down the journey of one Singaporean who did exactly that, retiring at 57 with a steady, disciplined strategy that, honestly, many of us could learn from.
57. That's the number that really jumps out at you, right? Not 65, not 70. This is the age an ordinary Singaporean actually called it a day. It just feels achievable. But it's how he did it that's the really fascinating part.
And here's the little detail that makes you lean in a bit closer. He managed this whole thing without ever buying a single private insurance policy. Now, that goes against almost all the conventional wisdom we hear, doesn't it? It tells you right away his approach to building wealth and managing risk was different. So, how'd he pull it off? Well, it wasn't a lottery ticket or some wild, risky bet. It was a clear, consistent strategy that he built over a quarter of a century. So let's dive in and look at the foundation of his entire journey. See, this story doesn't start with some brilliant investment. It starts with something much more relatable for all of us, a career. 25 years of just consistent work. That laid the groundwork for everything else that came later. It really proves that time and just showing up are the first crucial ingredients. Just take a look at this timeline. It's a pretty normal career path, right? Moving through different industries, from semiconductors to property management. This is not the story of some C-suite executive with a massive paycheck. It's the story of diligence and steady saving, year after year, which makes this whole early retirement thing feel so much more grounded in reality.
Okay, so consistent saving was step one. But where did all that money go? This is where we get into the real heart of the strategy, the investment portfolio that basically acted as the engine for his retirement.
And here it is. This is a complete snapshot of his liquid assets. As you can see, it's a mix of a whole bunch of different things: stocks, bonds, and especially REITs, which are those companies that own income-generating real estate. The thing that immediately jumps out is the diversification. He didn't put all his eggs in one basket. Let's zoom in on the biggest pieces of the puzzle.
The biggest slice of the pie, coming in at nearly 30%, is in REITs held in his CDP account. After that, you've got other funds that are also focused on dividends. You can see a very clear theme emerging here. The goal isn't just about growth, it's about generating a steady stream of income. And this whole thing is held together by a few core principles.
So the crucial thing here is that this wasn't just random. First, the portfolio is heavily focused on Asia. A strategy he points out is pretty similar to Singapore's big banks. Second, it's incredibly diversified, spreading the risk across about 100 different companies on the Singapore Exchange. And third, and this is a big one, he always keeps more than 10% in liquid assets, like cash and Singapore savings bonds. That's his safety net.
And this is the result of that strategy, 4.3%. That was the average dividend yield his CDP portfolio paid out in 2024. This isn't some theoretical number, this is the actual cash flow his investments were generating for him.
And that's the whole point. The entire portfolio is built to be a cash flow engine. It's designed to just churn out stable passive income that can cover his basic living costs in retirement. It's what protects him from inflation and gives him real financial security. But there's more to it than just the numbers on a spreadsheet.
Because behind every financial strategy, there's a philosophy, right? It's the why behind the what. And his is all about contentment and just clear-headed thinking.
He brings up this quote from John D. Rockefeller, and it just perfectly captures his mindset. Wealth is the compensation for cognition, not the reward for diligence. I mean, hard work is obviously important, but true wealth, he argues, comes from understanding. So what does cognition really mean here? It's not about being the smartest financial analyst in the room. It's about having the self-awareness to define your own finish line. Diligence is what gets you to save money, but cognition is what tells you when you've saved enough. It's about deeply understanding what you need and then building a simple, logical system to get there without getting pulled in a million directions by hype or fear. And for him, this was the finish line. The goal was never to pile up endless amounts of money. It was to build a system that produces enough, stable cash flow for a comfortable life. It's a philosophy of sufficiency, of just being content when you have what you truly need. And that's a really powerful shift in perspective. So when I boil it all down, what are the key lessons we can take from this 25-year journey to financial freedom? For me, it really comes down to three core principles. First, build a cash flow engine. Focus on assets that actually pay you to own them. Second, diversify like crazy to protect yourself, and always keep a liquid cash cushion for emergencies or opportunities.
And third, and this might be the hardest one, be patient. This was not a get-rich-quick scheme. It was the result of a steady, consistent plan that played out over 2.5 decades.
Which brings us right back to that core idea of cognition. This whole journey was guided by a really clear understanding of the end goal. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. What is the most important cognition, that single most crucial understanding that you need to define for your own financial journey?